Hello everyone. Good morning. Welcome to Visualpath. Okay, we'll start today's session. So, my name is Praveen. I'm your instructor. I'm having 11 years of experience. Everyone able to hear me?
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. I have nearly 11 years of experience in industry. Currently, I'm working for one of the banking industry, banking project. I have mostly 10, 11 years of experience into data engineering, data science, and Power BI. Currently, I'm working on Azure platform, Azure as cloud. Okay. And I have nearly 5 to 6 years of experience in teaching. I'm teaching current Azure data engineering. I have taught nearly many batches with another organization as well as corporate training I have given for I'm doing this from last 5 to 6 years. I have taught IT and non-IT students uh, for Azure Data Engineering. Okay. Okay. Let's take who has taken this course, who has done this course. This course is being it can be taken by non-IT, IT team, IT students, non-IT students, support, engineer, QA, and who are already doing who are already into Azure, already into data engineering, but they wanted to change this to cloud. Okay. Yeah. So if you see this PPT for Azure Data Engineering, okay. So how many of you? Let's make this in this session interactive. So how many of you are from data engineering background, or what is your background? So feel free to speak, unmute your mic, and you can tell me.
Hey, Praveen. This is Uday.
Hi there.
I am into data engineering. I've been working in this domain for 6 years. So we started with Hadoop, MapReduce, Spark, and
Hmm.
we were writing scripts in PySpark. Um,
Okay.
Later, we moved on to Snowflake Cloud Data Warehouse, where the whole the data is migrated to the cloud data warehouse, and we were writing scripts supporting the same. Um,
Hmm.
So now it is required to move to Azure. Um, so in a way, I'm trying to understand how the cloud, all of that work together in Azure. Yeah.
Yeah, there. Yeah, nice to know that. Okay. Others, feel free to speak.
Hi Praveen, this is Ramya. I have
Hi,
total 10 years of experience in IT industry, and I have been working with Informatica Power Center and Informatica Cloud data
okay.
integration and all. So from last 10 years. Nowadays, uh, my company is asking me to do some mandatory certifications on DP 203 and fundamentals and all. So I'm moving towards Azure Data Foundation and associate certificates. So yeah, that's how I started with this.
Okay.
I'm in Canada right now, so yeah, it's evening for us.
Okay. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hey, hi Praveen, this is Raja. I'm working as a VRA and VRO administrator. Recently, I'm changing into another project. In that project, it is completely related to the engineering. So the reason I want to know, I'm moving into the completely Azure side in another couple of days from a different project.
Okay. Yeah.
Want
So,
to know
okay.
all the details about this.
Okay, you have experience in data engineering? No.
Yeah, Azure Data Engineering.
Okay. Okay.
One quick question, Praveen.
Yeah.
So do you, apart from theoretical, we do have practicals, right? Uh, like how
Yes, we
do,
do have practical. Yeah,
so
I'll
as
explain
part of,
you.
sorry,
Yeah,
yeah,
go
go on.
on with that.
Yeah, yeah. As part of that practical exercises, is it like we need to have our own Azure account? Because I know there is some billing associated to maintaining the cloud account and all. So you guys have a like a common account where we all do practice on that, or how does that work?
No, no, that. So, in Azure, 1 month account is given for free. You have to just give your credit card detail in that. So there'll be no charges. Some credit points will be given to you for 1 month. You can practice for 1 month for free. There'll be no charges for that. Post that, you can use, accordingly, but there'll be no much charges. You have to use minimal after 1 month. There are very you know there will be some charges associated with that, but at least for 1 month you can use for free. Another
Yeah.
month again you wanted to use it, you can use from another credit card and another email ID. You need email ID as well as an credit card or debit card
Okay.
to use
Because
it, so you can use it.
I thought of getting the free access and looking at, and I gave my credit card details, and it's been already 2 months, but I didn't use that. So
Mhm.
I was
That's over
wondering how
then.
does that work? Yeah.
Yeah, that happens with every mostly candidates I've seen.
Hmm.
Without guidance, it's a bit difficult to, use it. So once we start this one, I'll ask you to, I'll help you to I'll help everyone to, open that account and how to use it. For 1 month during this training period, you can use it. Okay. All the exercise you can do in that.
Our own accounts, right? You mean?
Yeah, yeah. Own account, your
Okay.
own account.
Okay. And this is a 3 month program, right? Uh, what is the duration? Sorry.
It's a 1 month, 1 month.
1 month only. Okay. Okay.
Yeah. Every day, Monday to Friday.
Okay. Okay.
Praveen, sorry to interrupt. How many month training will be given?
1 month.
1 month. Hello.
Yeah, yeah, 1 month.
For 1 month, what are the top? What are the tools going to be covered?
I'll cover that in last of this PPT.
Sorry. No, no. I am asking. Entire data engineering will be 1 month or how it is?
Yeah, I'm saying Monday to Friday, 5 days a week. It will be for
Okay.
1 month.
1 month. So 20 hours only you mean to say.
Yeah.
So in the 20 hours, Python, Databricks, Data Factory, PySpark, and those things you will be cover.
Yes, yes.
Oh, okay. 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 Okay, brother.
Yeah. Sometimes we'll be covering sometimes 1.5 hour. Okay. So it will be nearly 25 hours. Okay. But we can cover in 25 hours, we can cover most of the things. We'll be covering Azure, ADF. Okay. Batch process, mostly batch processing. Azure ADF, then some part of keywords. Okay, then moving to Azure Blobs and ADLS, then Spark and Databricks. In Databricks, we'll be covering some basics of PySpark coding as well as SQL coding.
Okay, all right.
Mhm. Okay, so
Hey Praveen, sorry,
yeah,
this is Kamlakar. I'm working on the from last 7, 8 years, working mainly on the database side. So as of now, I was working on SQL Server. Recently, I
Mhm.
started working on Azure Data Factory, but not uh, as a data engineer. We just use for ETL purpose, like we have sources like SQL, target R, SQL. So we just need to move the data using ADF.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay. So yeah, there are other components that
Uh,
you want to learn, right?
correct.
Yeah.
Ravi, I'm Deepthi. So
Yeah.
actually, I have worked on as a tester, manual tester. I don't have any experience on the coding background or any this data related background. So, should I need to know the all these skills? Need to have these skills like coding and any Python, uh, or you will start from basics, or you will start from scratch?
No, Deepthi, we'll start from basics. The coding that uh, we used to get afraid previously, like Java coding and the big classes in Spark, in PySpark, you will not see that big coding. Okay, so you can also do everything with the help of SQL as well as Spark, Python. But you will come to know we'll start from basic, and it's not that it's not gonna you can easily learn it. It will not take much time. It's not that big part because mostly you are going to into cloud side. So cloud as well as Spark, it's a combination of both.
Oh,
Yeah. Okay. So let's understand what is a data engineer and what is this architecture. Okay. Uh, if you can see my screen, so if you see my screen, this is Medallion architecture. Okay. So if you see here, why it's called medallion? Because mostly into you see here, if you see this three line, the bronze layer, the silver layer, and then gold layer. Okay, I think if hope you can see my cursor as well, right?
Yeah, we can
Okay.
see.
So just imagine that this bronze layer, like I'm keeping everyone in mind. I'm trying to convert everything. Okay, other guys understand for other guys understanding. So bronze layer, if you see here, there are three. Okay, this one. So just try to imagine that just imagine that this is the storage device. Okay, this is storage on cloud. Now whatever we have, three this three storage here. You can say hard disk. Then there is silver layer. This is another and hard disk here, and then gold layer. Just imagine that this is another hard disk here. So we are storing the data here, then we are moving data to silver layer and then gold layer. Okay, so let's start from beginning. Suppose we are getting data from different sources. Mostly Azure, why do we use Azure cloud as a cloud? There are multiple purpose. So first one, why we use cloud to migrate our data. Might be in an organization. Suppose you're working in one organization. In that organization, the data is at the different places. Okay, might be in SQL Server. The data is in SQL Server. The data is in Web API. We are getting data from Web API, or the third source could be a flat file. Okay, so now we wanted to migrate all the data into Azure. Okay, on cloud. The first purpose is to get all the data at one place. So if you see here, we have different sources, and then we are storing all the data into bronze layer. So what happens in bronze layer? If you see here on next layer, next line. So what I was explaining, suppose we have an employee database. Okay, Okay, so you suppose you have an employee database. On left side, if you see uh, four four types of data set we have. The first one is employee. Okay, it's on SQL Server. You can see my screen, right, everyone?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's on SQL Server.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So on SQL Server, I have a table that is called ID, name, joining date, and address. This is my first employee ID, first employee data. Okay. The second data set, it's on again on SQL Server. So what is that? Again, ID, name, salary, year of join, and hike. What hike he got in this year. The third one is it's a web API. Okay. So what is this detail? Employee is dealing with some ID. Okay. He's accessing some page, or might be he has some access on this page, and how much time he has spent on this web API. And then last one, if you see the last one, this is the device related data, okay, of
Actually,
that employee.
we are seeing the first slide, Praveen,
Oh, is it?
not the second one. Yeah.
Okay, now it's second.
Yeah, yeah, it's second now. Yeah.
Okay, it's not working in presentation mode. No worries. Let me zoom it. Now, can you see?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Okay. So first one, as I explained, it's a SQL Server, ID, name, joining. Okay. Then second is also SQL Server. We are getting the similar data, but it's related to salary. The third one is Web API. We're getting data from Web API. It's about employees accessing some IP address, okay, or some Web API. The last one is related to uh, device. Okay. So what device? It's stored on flat files on some server. So now our data, employee data is at different location. Okay. One is at SQL Server, another can be at another SQL Server. Okay. Now, third one is at Web API. Fourth one is at firm server. So now my use case is that I wanted to know which employee is accessing which data, okay, web API from device, which at device. This is my requirement. Okay, which all device is accessing some web API that belongs to which employee. Okay, suppose this is my requirement. In that case, if it is a on-prem or I'm doing some analytics on this one without using cloud, how you gonna do it? What is your understanding? How long it will take? What all the challenges you will face? Are you able to understand what is the scenario, what we are going to do, and what is the challenges if we are doing it without cloud? What do you think? Anyone? Feel free to speak. No one is. It could be anything. You can say anything.
Need to find out the data in three different sources. Then only we can.
Three or four.
Uh,
Yeah.
uh, four. Only
Yeah.
three actually. First two are at one place, right?
You just imagine that for both employee SQL Server and salary SQL Server are into different servers. Even though it's
Okay.
a SQL
Then we
server,
have to
it could
find
be a
out
different.
in four sources. Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Right.
it will be difficult to find out also.
True. It's difficult to find out, right? Uh, what else? What other challenges do you see? Anyone else? Anyone?
So the
If it
question
is
is
not cloud,
about retrieval of data, or like cost
no, no,
associated to handling the
no.
data.
It could be cost. Suppose my question, I'll repeat the question. Since we have a data at four different places on premises, okay, I wanted to create a use case where I wanted to access the detail of device, log, login page, salary, and employee. Okay, all together. Suppose my use case could be a employee is having salary more than okay, some range
Hmm.
accessing which login page with which device. Okay, this is my way use case. Or there are multiple use cases where I have to, use all the tables or all the data set, four data set. So my case,
Processing
my
speed.
question, yeah, post processing is one challenge. Uday, as Uday said, cost is another challenge. As Kamlenda said, that we have to access data from different sources. That is another challenge. Okay, what else?
Yeah, bringing all this data together at one place is also a challenge.
Another challenge, yes.
Yeah.
See, now, if we are trying to do this with the help of, normal solution, what we have to do, we have to get the data from four different places. So we need four different connectors. Suppose we are doing this with the help of any solution on premises. We need four different connectors. So someone said that cost will be more. So yes, there'll be a cost associated to this one, and then we need different technologies to handle all this one. So that's why we we have a solution as cloud. So what we are doing, what we are doing in Azure, we have an Azure Data Factory. Okay, what does it do? Azure Data Factory. If you see this slide, another one. If you see this one, let me zoom it. If you see this one, Azure Data Factory, this is a drag and drop tool. Okay, this service Azure Data Factory, it's in a drag and drop option. We have in Azure Data Factory, we have an option to drag and drop. We have a different copy activities. So no coding is required in this one. Okay, so we have an option to drag and drop. Also, there are some settings that we have to do, that we have to enable to import our data from all these sources. So we can import our data from SQL Server, we can import our data from Web API, we can also import the data from flat file, or could be anything. Okay, so multiple options are there. Once we are able to import the data, okay, once we import the data, what will happen? We have in Azure, we have an ADLS, Azure Data Lake Services. Okay, what is that Azure data lake? So you can just imagine that it's just an storage. As of now, you can imagine that it's just an storage layer. Whatever data we are importing with the help of Azure Data Factory, we have to store that data into our storage location. In storage location, we have on three layers: bronze, silver, and gold. Let's understand why we have this one. Don't get confused here.
So
What
this
we are doing,
naming convention is part of the Azure service only, or it's just like
yeah,
bronze,
it's
silver,
part of
and okay.
it's part of Azure. Yeah, it's part of Azure. No, no, it will not be like that exactly. You will not see any folder or any
Okay.
yeah, any container that has having as a name as bronze. Just for understanding, I'm explaining.
Okay.
Don't get confused with this name. If you don't remember this also, that's also okay. So first of all, we'll store the data into bronze. Okay. Once we have copied the data with the help of ADF, Azure Data Factory, okay, all the data will be stored into bronze layer. So all the data, whatever format you get it from your SQL or your web API or your device flat file, you'll store all the data into your bronze layer in a same format what we got from source. Okay, why do we keep the same data as from source? Because we wanted to keep the history of the data. If any changes we do here, we might lose the data or something might happen. So what we do, whatever data we are copying from source, we are writing same data here. Then there's another, yeah, there.
No, I did not say anything.
So once you have your data here in bronze, you wanted to do some transformation in that. You wanted to clean it, you wanted to filter the data, or some changes you wanted to do according to, or you wanted to change your file format of your data. In that case, you will write this data into another container that is called silver, and whatever major transformation that you wanted to do, that you can do, like joining. I wanted to join this table with this table with this table and this table. Four tables I wanted to join for my final visualization. So what I'll do, I'll write it here in gold here, and then I'll present the everything. Like I can show this data into Power BI. This data, whatever question I have asked here, so that can be resolved here. Okay. And then this is warehouse. You can store your data into Azure warehouse like Synapse, or you can do machine learning on top of this data if you want to. But since we have all the data, whatever data from source we have on bronze layer or in silver layer, same replica is available in silver layer. So we can easily answer the question that I have asked in the first with the help of all this data. I can change the format here. Suppose my format was in a JSON. The login page was in JSON format. I can change that login format into tabular format or into SQL format or Parquet or anything. So all these four tables or four sources data can be changed into one format. Okay. Okay. You got it. You got this one. You are able to understand this one.
So, my question is, Praveen, so when we are getting this data from multiple sources, we are going to dump it into bronze and then transform it in silver. Is my understanding correct?
Yeah, Shrikant, you understood correctly. So from bronze, we are dumping everything in bronze. We are not making any changes in bronze. We are making small changes like formatting, filtering, cleaning. So these type of small changes that we do in your our silver layer.
Okay.
Yeah, that's correct. And major changes that like it's related to use case, or you wanted to answer specific question. So specific question in the sense you wanted to create a specific use case. So for that, you do the transformation on your gold business level aggregation or like that.
Okay. So, gold level is data warehouse. Is it basically the data warehouse part?
No. So data warehouse is mainly after your gold. So whatever data you have in gold, that will be in your warehouse. Sometimes it is also required that whatever data you have in silver, you wanted to keep that in warehouse. So it's a organization to organization. I have seen in some of the banking organization that they keep all the gold related data into gold data into warehouse. But in industry like telecom, I have seen that silver data, they also keep that in warehouse because they might the business analyst they wanted to use and they wanted to create some use cases there. So for that one. Okay. So what is a business use case? Let's understand. If you're not able to understand, let's understand what is a business use case. So suppose I have as I initially told, SQLs are employee data, salary data, login page, and device. Okay. So I wanted to see a use case. Uh, okay, what is the use case? Let's understand. Give me a second. Okay. So suppose you wanted to see some of the devices that got locked, okay, or some of the devices accessing web pages outside of the organization, which is not allowed. It's a rare case scenario, but let's take an example. Okay, you wanted to know who are the employees who are accessing that type of web pages. So this could be a use case, or the use case that we were trying to understand: an employee with a higher salary in some bracket salary and login page. Okay, they are trying to access with the help of some devices. So we have to understand this use case. So what will happen? Initially, we are dumping all this data into bronze layer. We are not doing any changes. In silver layer, what we are seeing, if there is any of the record that is corrupt or record is not proper, that has null value, we are discarding that value. Okay, and small changes in we are just converting everything into Parquet file format in silver. And then in gold, what we are doing this employee with the salary, with the login page and devices. If you see here, we have an ID common in all four data sources. So what we'll do, we'll write a join condition to join all these sources, and then whatever case that we have written, whatever case we were discussing, we'll write that case with the help of SQL or any other PySpark. And then we can answer our question, what question being asked initially, right? Correct?
So the thing that takes a greater level of computation is done in gold, something like that.
Yeah, that's right.
Okay.
Hmm. Okay, and then we can answer our question. We can answer our whatever use cases we got. We can answer. We can show that onto Power BI. We can store that data into warehouse. It's like that. Okay. Till here, anyone has any doubt? What is happening? Anyone who did not understand what happened? We were discussing?
I'm good.
Anyone else?
Sorry, I joined late. Can you give me a brief context of?
Yeah. Yeah, Mitab. So we were discussing about uh, Azure. Why do we use Azure and how does we use it? Okay. So for that we were discussing this one. Okay. So what can you just tell me briefly about your experiences, Amitabh? Just one
Yeah,
line, two line.
yeah, I have 11 years of experience at Dell. I've worked in data quality, data analytics throughout my career. Right now, I don't have any cloud exposure, so I'm looking for, from learning Azure from scratch or something like that.
Okay. Perfectly. Okay. So we have a use case. Suppose let's understand that use case. And I have an employee data in my on-premises. Okay. The data is like employee, then salary, then login page. Okay. And then devices. It's on different server. It's a SQL Server 1, SQL Server 2, then Web API and a flat file. Okay. So we wanted to create some use case on this four data set. Okay. So if you do that without help of cloud, how long it will take? So as we discussed, it will take like we need four connectors to connect this data. Okay, then we need we will take a lot of time. The storage is also high. We have to import the data from all the sources, and it has to be live connection because we do not have any storage in normal scenario. So that's a time consuming. It will be more costly. Then we need a lot of technology, and then we need a lot of technology experts to handle all these type of data. So for that, we haven't come up like when we use the cloud, we have a direct solution for this one. In cloud, what we do, we are importing all these four data set with the help of Azure Data Factory. That is a type of service in Azure provides a service. What it does, it imports all this type of data, any type of data into Azure storage. So what is Azure storage? It's called ADLS. So you can say It's a hard disk on cloud. Okay, we are storing all this type of data there, and then we have an architecture. Okay, so if you see here, medallion architecture, bronze, silver, and gold. So that's what we were discussing. We are keeping all the data into bronze. Then we are doing some small changes in this data in a silver layer. We are keeping that same data into silver layer. And then major transformation, major changes that we are doing in gold. And then we are showing this data into, we are sending this data to warehouse, could be into Power BI, it could be into data engineering, it could be into machine learning. Okay. Okay. So that's what we were discussing.
So right now we do almost similar thing, but through SSIS package, and that is really time consuming.
Yeah, that's time consuming. So here it's just in a short we have explained. Okay. There are key vaults, then we have to use, data set, link service, and some of the transformation that will be handling what we'll be understanding how the Spark works, how Spark, uses, how do we transform this data, okay, and how to store that into warehouse or Delta table. So Delta table is again massively used in our organization everywhere. If you see, yeah, okay, okay. So everyone understood this one? Hope you understood. If you have anyone has any doubt, feel free to speak.
So are you gonna discuss like the components that are there in the Azure? Like what does each component do? For example, you have Data Factory, Synapse
Yeah.
Analytics, all these icons, right? Which
Yeah,
are
yeah.
as specific.
You mean to say that whatever I'm showing in slide that we are going to discuss or not?
Yeah, I was just wondering, you have this slide already, right? So are you gonna discuss or this is just for showcase? Like these are the
Yeah, yeah.
different services. Yeah.
No, no, no. I'll show you what all the services and how do we use it. Not in
Okay.
detail, but yes. Okay. So let's go one by one. If you see on the number one, hope everyone can see. Okay. Okay. So this layer, the left most left, okay, that's ingest. What it does, it is importing the data. These two tools, Azure Event Hub as well as Azure Data Factory. These are two services that is to import the data of outside of the Azure world. Okay, it's a mostly drag and drop options. No coding required in this one. So this one we have to configure. We have to set the different properties as well as we have to create a link service and okay. We are importing these two. We are not discussing. Let's not discuss that streaming. Let's discuss more into a batch process. So Azure Data Factory, that is the one that we'll be using extensively. Okay. So Azure Data Factory, what happens in Azure Data Factory? We import the data from different sources, as I discussed here. So all this data set, employee, salary, login page, device, there could be many more, any and other. So how do we import that data? How do we migrate that data? With the help of Azure Data Factory. And where do we store? As we have already discussed, that we store the data into Azure Data Lake storage. It could be a hard disk, okay? Cloud storage, you can say cloud storage. And then we have a three replica, you can say bronze, silver, and gold. Here you see Delta Lake. Okay, so Delta Lake is nothing but it's another service provided by Spark, or you can say, okay, what we can do, all the data that we are storing into Delta Lake, instead of in we can instead of normal file, we can store in Delta Lake. It's another feature, okay, that has another, many, it has a lot of advantage to store the data into Delta Lake. We'll discuss that later in another class. But you can say this is really fast and a lot of options and a lot of interview question you will see in this one related to Delta Lake. Okay, so Delta Lake is another feature. Okay, once we store the data into a Delta Lake or we store the data into an Azure Data Lake, we might have to use the Spark. Okay, from bronze to writing data into silver, we might have to use the Spark and Databricks. What is a Databricks? Databricks and other surveys. Okay, it is used for processing our data, or it is used to transform our data. We can write our PySpark, Spark SQL, or Scala code in a Azure Databricks. Then we write the data into silver or uh, also into gold. Okay, same. It's a pretty same that we have discussed previously. It's a pretty same concept, but here it's we are showing that how the Databricks get into picture. Okay, post that we might have to write the data into SQL Analytics. We can give this to SQL Analytics via Power BI or into Azure Synapse Analytics warehouse. Okay. Any question here till here? Yeah. No.
So, Praveen, is Data Factory an ETL tool that would help us to bring data from multiple sources to the SQL server, the bronze one? Is that right?
You can say it's a ETL tool. It's a yes.
Okay. And what is Databricks? I mean, instead of Data Factory, we would be using event hubs to bring that data into Databricks, right?
That is Event Hub, Azure Event Hub. That is for streaming job. Okay. Mm,
So streaming in
uh,
the sense live data.
yeah, live data like IoT related data or the data that is coming continuously. Okay,
So,
to import.
so in your previous example, the flat file and the other data which is live that would get into Databricks, and the data which is there in the SQL servers that would get from the data factory into this one in the second layer of it.
No, no. In previous example, whatever I was saying, that is all batch process data.
Okay.
Excuse me. Yeah. Okay. So in this one, whatever I explained you, I have not used ADF. Okay. I was just trying to explain, like, just think that we are not, we are, ADF was not visible. So I explained here that how ADF Azure Data Factory will be used to import the batch process data. Here, all this four are batch process. Okay. So if you Azure Event Hub, if we are getting streaming data in the sense data is coming continuously. Okay, it could be like IoT related data. Okay, IoT hub, IoT. Okay, you understand IoT, right? IoT
Yes.
data, sensor data, or any data that is continuously flowing. Okay, so that type of data, if we have to import or migrate that data, then we have to use Azure Event Hub. Okay, if you are using a batch process, if you are getting a data like after interval of 10 minutes or after interval of 1 hour or 30 days, 60 days, 1 week. Okay, so in that case, we go with Azure Data Factory. So if you see industry wise, you will see major data coming in a batch process. So that's why we
Right.
are discussing Azure Data Factory more. Okay. Azure Data
Got it.
Factory is nothing but just an import, or it doesn't do only importing the data. It is also used for orchestration. What is orchestration? So let me explain you that. I'll share one of the like my web page. Give me a minute.
Meaning like scheduling the jobs in the data factory.
Scheduling the jobs. Right,
Oh,
right, right. You're right.
okay. Okay. So we don't have any separate orchestration tool in Azure, huh? Like Airflow, something like that.
In Azure, you don't need that.
Okay.
In Azure, you have another service like a Synapse. In Synapse also, you can do the same thing that uh, what you're doing in a, you know, in ADE. Similar you can do there also. Give me,
Oh,
hope you can see this.
yeah.
Okay. So, so if you see here, this is an Azure Data Factory. Okay. In Azure Data Factory, as I told you, there are multiple activities. So we have a copy data. Okay. This copy data is this is to copy your data from different sources. Okay. So there is a source as well as sync. So we have to give the properties. We have to set the properties for source first, like from which source we are going to migrate, import the data. Then we have a sync, like in ADLS, in data storage, where we are going to write the data. So we have to give the detail for sync, and then general information, mapping, settings. That is another properties that we have to use for different. Now, I wanted to use another activity that is like Databricks. Okay, I wanted to do transformation on this one. So after this copy activity, in this search, I have to search for Databricks. You will get a Databricks activity. So if you just drag that activity here, I'll show that tomorrow in a live class. Okay, with the help of Azure service, Azure portal. Okay, so you can use that Databricks. You can drag that Databricks activity here, and then you can write that whatever code you have written in your notebook. You can use that one. Okay, so that's how it is used for orchestration. And then we have an option to trigger the pipeline. Trigger or scheduling. It's kind of scheduling your pipeline. You can use a scheduler. How do you schedule your pipeline? It's like monthly, weekly, daily, or some hours, after some hours, every 5 hours, or every year, every month. So there are multiple ways to schedule your pipeline. That's called triggers in Azure. So this is how it's used for orchestration. Got it?
Um, Quick question, Brian. Like I do see like there is most of drag and drop way of handling things here. Do they also provide like a shell interface where we can, in a script format associate all these activities? Do they have that, or it has to be this?
CLI. It has to be.
No, no. Is this the only way, or is there like a shell interface where we can script all this association orchestration?
You mean to say CLI?
Yeah, CLI, command line interface. Yeah.
Yeah, it's there, but uh, like orchestration and all this, for that it CLI doesn't work. Yeah, there is CLI available for, you wanted to create some uh, integration runtime. You will get, for security you can use CLI. For link services also you can use CLI. But orchestration using entire service, you will not get it. It is much easier here with the with like, drag and drop. That is better. That is easy, and multiple services can be used here. But for CLI, it's not that helpful here.
Yeah, okay.
There is CLI is available, but specific to one service.
Okay, okay. Yeah, okay. Yeah, I feel like this is a non-technical job handling drag and drop and all that. But
It's not. No, it's not non-technical. If you go in deep, there is a lot of component. Okay, there are a lot of component. Even the technical guys, technical experts also feel difficult to understand. But if you wanted to be as a data, like if you're going to a architecture level, then it's
Mhm.
a there are a lot of component that we have to handle as your data engineer. There are a lot of component like security, architecture, and permissions. That it's a bit it's a
But
the
deep.
learning curve is also really good. Also,
Okay.
if someone who wants to switch from non-technical to technical, this is really easy because first of all you will get a lot of drag and drop. Then this configure setting. Once you move to transformation side, once you move to transformation side, you'll get technical aspects of your how like you have to do coding. Okay, the coding is also you can say it's a initially you can easily learn this coding because it's not majorly if I summarize my experience in coding in data engineering in cloud that we have seen. It's a if you understand 10 to 15 or 20 type of transformation and an action, the coding is also categorized in a two format: transformation and an action. So if you understand that, it's not difficult. I have taught students who were totally non-background students. Okay, one was finance student. Okay, that finance is that the guy used to do some in finance also. He
Reports.
was not directly into finance. Okay, so he took a class and now he's working as a data engineer. He was so afraid about coding, but now he's easily be able to handle that. But totally move to technical side.
Okay, okay. Got it.
Yeah. Yeah. I feel data engineering is comparatively other. If you see AI, if you see Power BI. So if you say Power BI, that's not exactly everything into technical side. That goes into business side. But as a data engineer, it's a perfect path. Either you can, if you choose a data engineering as your data engineer, first of all, you're getting cloud exposure. Okay, you understand cloud. So everything in going future, you will see everything on cloud. So that's a huge market. The second thing is data engineering. So whenever we get data from any source, the first person who is going to handle this data, who is going to clean this data, who is going to understand this data, clean, transform, and all the uh, the huge data set that we are going to optimize our data. So we are going to optimize the huge data and how to process that data, where to store this data so that it takes less time, and then we give this data into data science team, data analytics team. So every industry you go, you will see a data engineer role. Going forward into career path, if you're moving into architecture role, the data engineer, you'll see data engineer is dealing with the sources, all type of sources, then where to store this data, how to orchestration this data, these pipelines, way to store this data for a better you know performance that you're gonna see. You'll see you'll be able you have to handle the security level. You also have to interact with the different services. Suppose you want to interact with ADF directly with the Power BI, okay, or ADLS. You wanted to access the data from Power BI in Power BI. So how do you interact this Power BI with the ADLS? So that you will have to learn that. Okay. And then if you wanted to move to another role like Power BI, or you wanted to move to uh, data science, this is the first step for you.
Got it.
Others, do you have any question? Okay, this is last slide that what we are going to cover. Uh, ADLS Azure Blob Storage, it's similar to ADLS that storage level storage, okay, in Azure. So both are similar, Blob Storage as well as Azure Data Lake Services storage. These two components, Azure Data Factory, Azure SQL, Azure Databricks. Then we are going to see the Spark, how internally Spark works. Okay, okay. Azure Key Vaults, how do we store our secrets in key vaults? Okay, interaction, orchestration of your, different components. We'll see how do we write the data into Delta Lake, Delta tables. That is again an important and interesting topic, very interesting topic. You'll see if you wanted to give interviews for data engineers, your data engineer, what you'll see majorly, you'll see Delta Lake tables, Delta Lake interview questions from Delta Lake. You'll see a lot of questions from Spark. You'll see questions from Azure Data Factory, ADLS, and keywords. Few questions from keywords.
So Delta Lake is for the data that we can handle using Spark, right? Maybe on top, we have
No, no,
Spark to
it's
handle.
no. It has nothing to do with Spark, but you can
Oh,
say also you can write the data with the help of Spark. But you can, if you're using Azure Data Factory and copying data from one source and writing data into Azure Delta Lake, you can also do that. It has to do with the speed. It has to do with the speed, and it has a lot of features like you can traverse in history, which load
okay.
how many data we have loaded. Okay, like that. Which data got updated recently? What was the previous version of this data? So we can do asset property in this. All the asset property we can cover in that. We can use that. Yeah.
Praveen, what will be the key outcomes of this training program? I mean,
Yeah, Shiga.
after
So, hmm, you're saying something?
So what will be the key outcomes? I mean, will this be a project oriented type of learning, or uh, what do you intend to you know
Yeah,
what
Shigan. Yeah. So the the key outcome of this project is this learn training is, first of all, you will understand, you will see two parts are there. First is Azure component. Second is excuse me. Uh, I got distracted. There are two components for this one. The first one is cloud. Okay, you will come to know, you will learn how does the cloud work. Second is about Spark. Okay, Spark as well as cloud. We'll be doing whenever we are reading. Okay, whenever we are, I'll not be covering any theoretical. Okay, what we are going to, how we are going to do. I'll open my Azure portal. I'll explain you how do you create Azure blob storage. How do you log into Azure portal? How do you create an Azure blob storage? Then Azure Data Lake storage. When we move to Azure Data Factory, I'll create an Azure Data Factory service. We'll import the data, and then you have to do the same thing at your system. Okay. So mostly what you will see, uh, mostly we'll be doing hands-on practice. When we move to Spark, I'll be teaching you theoretical about the Spark. Okay. Then we'll be doing small practice on Spark coding. Okay. Once we are done with everything, we'll be doing and whatever components. Suppose we have used 6 components. We have already we have an hands-on on six components. So at the end, you'll be doing a detail or a project or using all the six components or seven components. So you will come to know how the data is flowing from source, what ETL transformation that you're doing, ETL transform load you are doing, and how you're writing your data into target location. Okay, what transformation you're doing, that you will be gonna learn.
So, do we need to have any DevOps background for this one, Praveen, or do you suggest anything on the DevOps side also that we have to learn?
See, the DevOps is an optional. If you have it, it's really good as going to your, career path in architecture. If you have a DevOps, that's good. If you do not have, that's also okay. It's not mandatory. Uh, as a developer, you don't need it extensively. What you need as a data engineer, in my career, what I've seen, a data engineer, a DevOps team will give you some pipelines to use, run for uh, promoting your code from dev to QA. So you have to run that pipeline. So that's like, one click option. You can also use that. If you have uh, DevOps understanding, that is well and good. If you do not have, no one is going to ask you.
Okay.
It's a
And
separate team.
and you're saying that there is some security concept, right? So, do we have any tools that we use from the data team side to monitor the security part of it, data security?
Data security, data security as a developer. See, again, uh, again, see, data security is not in hand of data as your data engineer. It's designed by the architecture. Okay, what type of security? There are multiple ways. There are multiple securities provided. First is like no one should have access on your services. That will be given by the admin, as your admin. They will give you like your
Right, access.
access. You will not be able to access another's data, any data that is not required to you. Then there is like uh, what you will see in a production environment. You will see the data, actual data that is flowing in production environment only. No one will have access in production except only the business user, one or two user. So what
Right.
data you see in dev environment, that is not at all, you know, security is required in that. There is some encryption that you have to do, that we'll discuss how we can do that encryption. So if it is really required, that security you must know. What encryption you need. Okay, there are some other security that we'll discuss in other, how do you, what type of security is needed to access the data lake into, you know, um, data breaks, or how do we mount a point, otherwise you'll not be able to access it. So that type of security and this type of things we'll discuss. We'll see that in our classes. That's not extensively, but yes, as a data engineer, you must know that.
So, what is the basic skill set that a data engineer requires, Praveen, from your experience? Say, tomorrow, if we are going as a data engineer, right? So, these are the mandatory skills that we need to have as a data engineer.
See, there is no mandatory skill required for even for data scientist, but
Right.
in data scientist, if you go for the role of data scientist, they'll ask you that, okay, you should know a little bit of data stats, okay, the mathematics stats. But here, if you go into data engineering, Azure data engineering or cloud data engineering, you don't need anything. Even non-IT background student also have done a lot, really good in data engineering. But you should be able to, you need to change your mind. The first thing that if you want to really go into this, then you have to change your mind. Suppose you are working as a uh, suppose you're working as a QA or some technical support. Okay, so you wanted to go to data engineering, then the most difficult thing that you will face is to change your mind, to accept that okay, the data the work could the data could flow like this. Okay, a QA might mm, QA will relate this process, that data engineering process, he'll relate that process with the QA prospect. Okay, he'll try to think how is this the same problem, if I get a same problem in uh, you know QA or in my project, how I'll solve this one. Okay, we have to change our mind here. Okay, and we have to think how data, as a data engineer, what we have to do here. So prerequisites, I don't see any prerequisites here. You don't have to.
So will we be responsible for to take care of the DBA part of DBA part also, or will be just looking at the how the data is flowing by creating pipelines?
I didn't get it, Shrikant.
So we have this databases, right? So will we be responsible for to take care of the DBA part also, database administration part, or just we would be designing those pipelines and oversee how the data is flowing. What would be our main focus there? Praveen?
See, since the data engineering role is to import the data, or get the data from different sources. So what what as data engineer needed is he has to be communicative. He has to communicate with a lot of teams. So instead of knowing more about uh, data administration or data, we are not going to do data administration work. We are not going to do any access to anyone. We are not going to give any access to anyone. So what we have to do, we have to interact with the data team. We might have to see, database team. We have to discuss with them. Okay, what type of data it is? Do I have access? Can you give me the access for this one? Because as a user, what user I am in Azure, I'll be having a username in my Azure account. Okay, so if I'm importing that data, so my users should have access to that data, right? So we have to interact with the data administration or database teams. Okay, we have to understand what type of data it is, what is the frequency you are going to load your data, how big this data set is. Can I import the data every day? Like what type of approach you are using to getting your data. Is it an upsert? Is it an append? Or it's a override? So we have to understand that. We have to learn that. Okay, we have to be communicative, like we have to interact with them to understand. Got it?
Got it.
Praveen, one question. Um, so the PySpark that we write, right? We can also schedule that as a script in Azure. Um,
Right, right,
oh,
right. So as I told you, Azure Data Factory as a orchestration, another part as a orchestration. So whatever code we are writing in data breaks, okay,
okay.
that code will be imported in Azure Data Factory itself.
Oh, okay, okay.
it it will be like, give me a second, I'll show you one image. 1 minute. Okay, can you see?
Yeah, I can see.
Okay, so see, this is a copy activity, this is the
Yeah,
transformation. So
and that's a
this
notebook. Okay.
yeah, if you click on this, you will have an option to choose your notebook from your folders,
Okay.
Databricks folders. Yeah.
Got it. Got it. And how much of this course is gonna cover the DP203? Are we covering like all concepts and modules, or like are we gauging towards the coverage, or there's just like there's certain components that we want to teach and we are covering only those, something like that?
See, this course is mainly designed to have a good understanding, good knowledge, and clear your interview for Azure Data Engineering, mostly into cloud as well as into data engineering. Um, but if you're going to do DP203, it's not far. If you understand all the component properly, you will not see much more component covering up outside of this course. But yes, you have to. That's DP203 is somewhat designed in a such a way that uh, some of the other components you have not components, but you have to give us some mock test. Mostly 80 to 90% it will cover the DP203, but not exactly. It's a design for DP203. It's mostly designed for your better understanding, your good knowledge, hands-on experience on Azure Data Engineering.
Oh, okay, okay, got it, got it. Yeah.
But once you clear with this, once you have all the, once you understand this entirely easily, I think with 5 days of your practice, you can easily clear to DP203.
Okay, okay, that makes sense. Okay.
Yeah. Any other question?
Um, so this batch is gonna start tomorrow, right?
Tomorrow.
Okay. Do we have another batch in the next month as well?
I'm not sure about next one.
Okay, okay. I'm just maybe I might not be able to. So just so that I'm confirming if we have additional batches already scheduled as part of this year.
I'm not sure about next batch, but this batch is starting from tomorrow.
Okay, okay, okay.
Okay. Um, if no more question, then we can end up the call.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone.
Thanks.